shines below and above. You rescue me from all the fears my mind imagines, and give me courage and faith to remove my doubts. I've come to know you are my dearest companion. Through time's endless journey, I feel you all around. Through time's endless journey, I feel you all around. Searching for your love, so many roads I've traveled, from valleys low to mountains high above. You carry me when I lose my strength for battle, and give me wings to fly beyond this world. You rescue me from all the fears my mind imagines, and give me courage and faith to remove my doubts. I've come to know you are my dearest companion. Through time's endless journey, I feel you all around. Through time's endless journey, I feel you all around. There are so many names and ever so many places, yet your name is my shelter. You've always been within my heart and soul. You're my one and only treasure, my reason for being, my one and only home. My reason for being, my one and only home. You rescue me from all the fears my mind imagines, and give me courage and faith to remove my doubts. I've come to know you are my dearest companion. Through time's endless journey, I feel you all around. Through time's endless journey, I feel you all around. Your name is my shelter, my one and only home. You are my refuge, my one and only home. Yes, you are my refuge, you are my one and only home.
Tadekam smaramas tadekam bhajamaha Tadekam jagat sakshi rupam namamaha Sadekam nidhanam niralambamisham Bhavam bodhipotam sharanyam vrajamaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. On that alone do we meditate, that alone do we worship, to that alone, the witness of the universe, do we bow. To that one who is our sole eternal support, the self-existent Lord, the raft to safety across the ocean of this world, do we come for refuge. Om, peace, peace, peace. Good morning. On this foggy Santa Barbara morning, I wish all of you a happy Mother's Day. This is a special day when we remember our mother and the tremendous sacrifice that our mothers have made for us. And naturally, in most cases, a feeling of deep gratitude arises. So let's take a moment to just remember our mothers and the tremendous sacrifice, a debt that is impossible to repay, and only those of us who become mothers probably can understand the extent of that sacrifice. Not done out of a sense of duty, but out of love. It's also a day to remember our universal mother, our very own divine mother. This was one of the great contributions of Sri Ramakrishna, this reaffirming, reawakening the ideal of looking on God as mother, feeling that God is our very own mother. Sometimes we feel that Father is a little bit more strict. He's the one who's going to spank us. And I know there's exceptions to everything, but it's the mother who's always we're most intimate with, usually. So that mother, who was so amazingly embodied in Shri Sarada Devi, whom we call the Holy Mother, the spiritual helpmate, you can say this, the spiritual companion of Sri Ramakrishna, who is enshrined on the altar here. And her completely unconditional love. She loved all her children with that overflowing love which didn't look at the faults of any of them. And we also taste that love. When our children are infants, we love them no matter what. Then gradually they begin to get an ego. And our ego also gets in the way. And then maybe that love becomes a little less unconditional. But that's our ideal, this unconditional love that we are striving to manifest, striving to understand, and loving to taste, of course. The mother's traditional role has always been the homemaker, right? The one who makes the home. And that's our topic today, is the idea of home. And the title was given, Have Thou No Home? We should put a question mark after that. Is it that we are to have no home? Where is our home? Mom and Dad, of course, both play a role in making the home. And home is most important. It's the place of refuge, the place of safety where we are fully accepted and loved, our own place. When we think of home, probably each of us has a different conception, but some place where we are entirely safe, where we can come back and know that we are okay. It might be a childhood domicile, it might be our current apartment, it might be some feeling that of being at home in the mountaintop or something like that. And every home also has its homemakers, those who create that safe and sacred space, which is so important for children. For when we're raising children, we know that if we haven't had that safe home as children, we're going to have trouble. It's going to be difficult for us. So I think it's even important for us adults, those of us who are adults or are trying to be adults, that home is important. How this topic came up in the first place is in Los Angeles. Some of our monastics are on an interreligious council called the Los Angeles Council of Religious Leaders, and we meet together and talk about big things and meet big people. And so we actually, the council requested to meet with the new mayor of Los Angeles. Perhaps you heard that LA has a new mayor, and she's very much dedicated to addressing the issue of homelessness, people who don't have a home, people who are living on the streets especially, or living in their cars, or the couch surfing, all those different kinds of stages of homelessness. And she seems like a really decent person. And she's called this a spiritual crisis, not just it's a moral crisis and a spiritual crisis. And she told us that she feels it's not something the government can fix. It's something that all of us, all Angelinos, or in the case of Santa Barbara, all Santa Barbarians, have to come together to address, right? I faced the barbarian hordes today. I'll tell them when I go back to LA. We have to address it together. And she asked us to bring this message to the people. So this is my little plug for the mayor of Los Angeles, that homelessness is not something government can fix by itself. It requires all of us to come together and recognize that all human beings are our brothers and sisters. It's a perfectly Vedantic ideal, and one of the areas in which we can make a difference is counteracting the NIMBY phenomenon, which means, I think you know, not in my backyard. We all know we need low-income housing, but not in my neighborhood, not in my backyard, somewhere else. Well, if everybody says that, then it's not going to happen. So, as Father Greg Boyle of Homeboy Industries says, there's no us and them. It's just us. Perfectly Vedantic idea. There's no us and them. It's just us, we here, we human beings. So here we are, we spiritual seekers at the Vedanta Temple. And I think it's important for us to have a sanctuary, a home as our spiritual sanctuary, a place of refuge and safety, which develops good vibrations. Maybe that's the place where we meditate and we do our spiritual practices. And let's not neglect that. If we have a family and we're raising children, it's most important. But even if we live alone, we don't want to neglect creating a sanctuary where we can be rejuvenated, refreshed as we face the battle of life, as it were. So I think that is an important part of life and of leading a spiritual life. Keep maybe having a sacred space in the home, making the home a sacred space. Again, though, we have to be careful, because if it shouldn't become an obsession that I can be happy only when I have the perfect home, the perfect apartment, the perfect furniture, the perfect altar, and the perfect candles on the altar, and then we're missing the whole point. Vedanta asks us, of course, to continually expand our boundaries. Expand our boundaries. This idea of home versus not home. My home is my little domicile. Well, my home is also this town that I live in, or this city, and it's also this state, as opposed to other states, and it's also our country is our home as opposed to other countries. Vedanta asks us to continue expanding that boundaries until we can say, well, the whole world, let the whole world be our home. And then we see, well, gosh, we're not taking that good care of our home, are we? Sometimes it seems like that. We have just this one earth as our home, we human beings, and we carve it all up into little pieces and say, well, this is my part and this is your part, and don't you touch my part. And it's the only home we have. And how tragic that we don't take such good care of it. You know, we always have this idea of throw it away. The trash, we throw it away outside of our house, but we don't want it in our home. But if the whole earth is our home, then why would we wouldn't put trash in our living room. We wouldn't dump all our trash in our living room, but we dump all our trash on Mother Earth. So that's one side of it. This earth is our home. But spiritual seekers, we also recognize a higher truth. We have no true home here on earth. It's temporary. Earth, everything on earth comes to an end. The earth itself will have a death. When the sun becomes a red giant before it collapses into a white dwarf, it's going to burn this beautiful habitat of ours to a crisp. So we recognize that our true home is not our place of birth or our parent home or our special sanctuary. It has to be in that which is eternal and infinite, in the divine. That's our true home. Narendra, the future Swami Vivekananda, as a young man, he was a seeker. About 18 years old was the first time he came to Dakshineshwar and met his future guru, Sri Ramakrishna. And Sri Ramakrishna immediately recognized him as a spiritual seeker par extraordinaire. And Narendra, he was a seeker and also a musician, a singer, and he sang 2 songs for Sri Ramakrishna. And the first song is a beautiful song. It's a song from the Brahmo Samaj, that modern Hindu reform movement of Bengal of the late 1800s. Let me read you the first couple of verses. Let us go back once more, O mind, to our own abode. Here in this foreign land of earth, why should we wander aimlessly in strangers' guise? These living beings round about and the 5 elements are strangers to you, all of them. None is your own. Why do you thus forget yourself? We constantly try to claim all this as our own. We try to claim this earth as our own. We try to claim this body as our own and all the things that are connected with it, like our houses and our cars and our cell phones and our spouses and our parents and our children and our jobs and all that. We limit ourselves by claiming that all these things are our own. So the song is expressing this idea. All these things, all these beings here, and all the things we experience, this is all strange to you. It's not your own. Why are you forgetting yourself? So Sri Ramakrishna would guide his students to, and this is the instruction he gave to M, the recorder of the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, live with all, with wife and children, father and mother, and serve them. Treat them as if they were very dear to you, but know in your heart of hearts that they do not belong to you. I think, let's not think that it's some kind of fake love, that we just pretend to love our families. No, we genuinely love our families. They are dear to us. But still, he's guiding M. Know that in your heart of hearts, they don't belong to you. They belong to God. Don't think they belong to you. And he gives this example. He gives this example many times of a nanny. Sometimes actually like a wet nurse who lives in the home in the city. She's from the village, the poor village countryside, and she comes to the city to work in a very wealthy home. And she does all the household duties. And yet, her thoughts are always on her home in the village. And she brings up the children of the household. She even nurses the babies and brings the children up as if they were her own and speaks of them as my Rama or my Hari. but in her own mind she knows very well they don't belong to her. Her own children are in the village. And if she is dismissed, then goodbye, no more connection with that house or that family. So this was Sri Ramakrishna's suggestion. This song continues. Let me just read the rest of the song. It's a beautiful song. And it likens life then to a kind of a journey, a kind of a pilgrimage back to our true home in the divine, and suggests that there are difficulties along the way. Ascend the path of truth, O mind, unflaggingly climb with love as the lamp to light your way. As your provision for the journey, bring with you the virtues, carefully concealed, for like two highwaymen, greed and delusion wait to rob you of your wealth. And keep beside you constantly as guards to shelter you from harm, calmness of mind and self-control. Companionship with holy men will be for you a welcome rest house by the road. There rest your weary limbs a while, asking your way, if ever you should be in doubt, of him who watches there. If anything along the path should frighten you, then loudly shout the name of the Lord, for he is ruler of that road, and even death must bow to him. It's a very touching song. This, I think our clock is out of battery, by the way. But I have a way of knowing the time. All right. This idea that our life is a pilgrimage to our true home, and we bring with us the virtues as our companions, and as provisions for the journey. We watch against the negative tendencies of our minds, of greed and all of that, and we take rest in holy company, in other seekers of God. There we find rest, there we find true companionship, and there we find guidance also for attaining the goal. Sri Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita there are several sections where he describes the perfected seeker, the seeker who has attained mastery, who has attained true devotion. In chapter 12, he talks about that person who is the devotee, the real bhakta, the devotee of God. And there's one verse which says, one to whom censure and praise are equal, who is silent, content with anything, homeless, steady-minded, and full of devotion, that person is dear to me. So this homeless, I often think of that. We talk about the homeless problem, and we've been talking about the importance of home, and yet here in the Gita, Sri Krishna is saying the devotee who is homeless is very dear to me. What does he mean? I think homeless in this world because his home or her home is in God alone. That idea, that whether we are praised or blamed, it doesn't affect us. We are homeless means we can roam everywhere. We don't have a home. We're not bound by any place. Aniketa is the Sanskrit word. There is a kind of, and this kind of hints at the traditional monastic life of India, where the monks roam about without a home, begging their food from door to door, and just depending on God. And there's a kind of tension in Sri Ramakrishna's teaching between these two paths, the path of monastic life and the path of the householder, of keep maintaining a home and a family and all of that. Sri Ramakrishna himself was a monk, a sannyasi, and he extolled that ideal of sannyasa as an ideal of one who is utterly dedicated, completely and fully dedicated to the one goal of life, the realization of the divine, and full of renunciation, completely unattached to anything, not owning anything, roaming about without a home. And we see that Swami Vivekananda also had that side to him. There's this beautiful poem, perhaps some of you know it, called The Song of the Sannyasin, which describes the tradition. One of my favorite verses, all of the verses are favorite, but one of the favorite ones is the 11th verse of the 13. Have thou no home, he said. This is instruction for the monk. Have thou no home? What home can hold thee, friend? The sky thy roof, the grass thy bed, and food what chance may bring. Well cooked or ill, judge not. No food or drink can taint that noble self which knows itself. Like rolling river free thou ever be, sannyasin bold. Say Om Tat Sat Om. So this is the kind of call to the monks to wander about, have no home. Just what home can hold thee? I am the infinite consciousness that is existence, consciousness, bliss, absolute. How can I be bound by any place, by any home? I'll wander free from place to place and just beg my food, whatever comes. How can that affect me? I am infinite consciousness. That idea. I often use that line when I often say when people tell me, I say I've come back to Hollywood after a while, and someone will invariably say, "Welcome home," and I'll say, "I have no home." So this idea, at least for monks, we try to think of ourselves as not having a home. Yes, I have a monastery where I live, and I have a room there, and I have some belongings there, and it's also a kind of a sanctuary, but I try to impress on my mind, it's not my home. I have only one home, and that is in the divine, or maybe it is everywhere. So, but Sri Ramakrishna didn't encourage everybody to become monks. He recognized that that's a calling just for a few. And for most people, he encouraged them to maintain a home. He would liken the home to a fort. And from that fort, we fight the battle of life. Very oftentimes, the devotees would ask him, well, then, hearing him talk about renunciation and all that, well, then, should we give up our homes? Should we give up the world? Should we become monks? And he would say, why should you give up the world? Since you must fight, it is wise for you to fight from a fort. You must fight against your sense organs, against your hunger and thirst. Therefore, you will be wise to face the battle from the home, from the family. Further, in this age, he used to call it the Kali Yuga, the Iron Age, the life of a human being depends on his food. If one day you have nothing to eat, then you will forget all about God. And then he tells a funny story. I don't know if it's funny. A man once said to his wife, I am going to leave the world. She was a sensible woman. She said, why should you wander about? If you don't have to knock at 10 doors for your stomach's sake, that means begging his food, go. But if that is the case, then better live in this one place. So Sri Ramakrishna says, you will find it more convenient at home. Why should you give up the world? You'll find it convenient. You won't have to worry about food. You may even live with your wife. He is speaking, of course, to a man who asked this question. We can take it, you may even live with your spouse. It isn't harmful. You will find near at hand all that the body needs at different times. When you are ill, you will have someone near you to nurse you. So this is a really nice image of home as a fort in which we fight the battle of life. And the spiritual life, though, keep in mind, it's going to be a spiritual life, and the battle is not the battle of the rat race or whatever it is. The battle is the spiritual life, battling against our own negative tendencies, learning to transcend our greed and our lust and our anger and our jealousy and all these things, and finding our true self, which is one with the divine. So this is a kind of a fort from which we fight this battle. Monks, he would say, have to fight from the open field. He says there are many disadvantages in fighting in an open field. So many dangers too. Bullets may hit you. So now, by Mother's grace, we monks also have a kind of fort. We have our monastery, which is also like a fort. But this ideal of living together with a spouse is a beautiful, beautiful one. And there's a term, sahadharmacharin and sahadharmacharini. Together, the spouses live together and support each other in spiritual life. This is a beautiful idea. It's not that we are together for enjoyment. It's not that we are together for the sake of loving each other only. That may also be there. But we are together to support each other in spiritual life. We are partners in spiritual life. And we encourage each other to go forwards towards finding our true home. So, another parable of Sri Ramakrishna's. He says, I and mine, these constitute ignorance. My house, my wealth, my learning, my possessions, the attitude that prompts one to say such things comes of ignorance. On the contrary, the attitude born of knowledge is, O God, Thou art the Master, and all these things belong to you. House, family, children, attendants, friends are yours. It's a beautiful attitude. This is the kind of attitude that, all right, not mine, but thine. Not I, but thou. It's a kind of one of Sri Ramakrishna's mantras, you can say. Naham, tuhu, not I, but thou. We are born in this world to perform certain duties, he says, like the people who come from the countryside to Calcutta on business. If a visitor goes to a rich person's garden, in those days the aristocrats living in Calcutta, they'd have a garden house in the countryside, and they'd have someone there to look after it also. So the superintendent of such a garden would say to the visitors, this is our garden, this is our lake, and so forth. But if the superintendent is dismissed for some misdeed, he can't carry away even his mango wood chest. He sends it secretly by the gatekeeper. Okay, he's got some mango wood is cheap wood, so it's a kind of almost worthless thing, a chest made of mango wood with a few belongings in it, and he can't even, if he's dismissed, he can't even take that with him. He has to ask the gatekeeper, hey, can you bring my... So that it's not ours. We say ours, but is it ours? Is our home ours? Is it my home? Is it my car? It is thine. How did Sri Ramakrishna live? We know that he lived for many years at Dakshineshwari. He had his room there, and everything was in perfect order in that room, by the way. There were beautiful pictures on the walls, and the very few belongings which were there were kept always in their exact place. It was all neat and tidy. So we know that his nephew Hridoy, his attendant, was dismissed from the temple for a misdeed. And the manager of the temple, Trailokya, was very angry. He dismissed Hridoy. And then in his anger, he also dismissed Sri Ramakrishna. He said, let Sri Ramakrishna also get out of here. He got really annoyed. So this news reached the ear of Sri Ramakrishna. What happened? He took his towel, threw it on his shoulder, and was smiling. He was walking toward the gate. All that time he'd been living there. You'd think maybe there would be a little attachment to the place. No, absolutely none. Just ready to go out. If someone came to us and said, hey, you got to leave, out, how will we feel? Wait, this is my place. What are you talking about? So that kind of ideal of homelessness, that yes, he was staying there, but he was perfectly content to leave with his knowing that he is always protected, always safe in the Divine Mother's arms. So when Trailokya saw him heading towards the gate, he suddenly realized, oh, this is not good. He came running and said, no, sir, please, I didn't mean you. Please come back. And then he turned right around and went back to his room, and no problem. As if nothing had happened, he sat down back in his room. So this is Sri Ramakrishna. There was one day an earthquake. It was early in the morning, and M, the recorder of the gospel, was going out to the Ganges to bathe, and suddenly the earthquake was felt. We all know what that feels like. Those are we Californians, at least. At once he returned to Sri Ramakrishna's room, and he was standing in the drawing room, and all the devotees were around and naturally talking about the earthquake. And many devotees had been frightened. The shaking was rather violent. And M said, "You all should have gone downstairs. Get out of the building, lest it collapse." And Sri Ramakrishna then said, "Such is the fate of the house under whose roof one lives. And still, people are so egotistic." So that's the part of this talk that I'm talking about, homelessness. Now, so we've gone from home, the idea of home, to homelessness, and now with our true home in the divine. There's that line of a song in the gospel that I love so much. Thou, addressed to God, "Thou art my all in all, O Lord. Thou art my home, my place of rest, my dearest friend, my next of kin." That idea that we find our true home in the divine. And then there is yet another stage. We go not from error to truth, but from lower truth to higher truth, says Swami Vivekananda. This truth is perfectly expressed in a song which Narendra often used to sing for Sri Ramakrishna, a Hindi song, Tujisse Humne. I don't know Hindi, but I'll read an excerpt. "I have joined my heart to thee, all that exists art thou. Thee only I have found, for thou art all that exists. O Lord, beloved of my heart, thou art the home of all. Where indeed is the heart in which thou dost not dwell? Thou hast entered every heart, all that exists art thou. Thy presence is everywhere, whether in heaven or in Kaaba. Before thee all must bow, for thou art all that exists. From earth below to the highest heaven, from heaven to deepest earth, I see thee wherever I look. All that exists art thou." So this expresses the mystic's view, a realization that this very world is divine. God is everywhere. The divine is shining through everything, in every heart, in every building, in every rock, in every plant is the divine. So then, if our home is in the divine, and the divine is everywhere, then we can be at home everywhere. That's the last stage. We are at home everywhere. We're no longer homeless, because our home is everywhere. In fact, Swami Vivekananda, when translating that verse of the Gita that we took up just a few minutes ago, Sri Krishna describes the devotee as being aniketa, homeless. Swami Vivekananda translates that. He or she is homeless, for the whole world is his home. The whole world is her home. Such a one is my beloved devotee. So this is taking it to the next level, that we can be anywhere and still be at home, because we are always in the divine. The great teacher of non-dualism, Shankaracharya, also wrote many hymns, and one of the hymns he wrote, one of my favorites, is the Annapurna Stotram, a hymn in seeking the grace and blessings of the Divine Mother, conceived of as Annapurna, the giver of food. But in this hymn, it becomes clear, because every verse begs the mother, Bhiksham Dehi, grant me alms, O mother. But what are the alms that he is seeking? Jnana, Vairagya, and realization. Siddhartham, Jnana, Vairagya, Siddhartham, Bhiksham Dehi, Parvati. So he's seeking the alms of true wisdom, true knowledge of the divine, and detachment and perfection, attaining which our life is completely fulfilled. And the very last verse of this hymn It's a short verse. Let me just chant it. Mata me Parvati Devi Pita Devo Maheshwara Bandhava Shiva Bhaktascha Swadesho Bhuvanatrayam. Mata me Parvati Devi. My mother is the Divine Mother Parvati. The Divine Mother of the universe is my mother. Pita Devo Maheshwara. My father is Lord Shiva, the wife of Parvati. Bandhava Shiva Bhaktascha. My relatives, my near and dear ones, are the devotees of God, the devotees of Shiva. And Swadesho Bhuvanatrayam, my home, my homeland, is the three worlds. In other words, the entire universe at every level, every possible place, that is my own place, my own country, my own home. So in the monastic tradition, where traditionally monks don't talk about their life before they became monks. That's the old life. So if somebody asks a monk, where are you from, actually? And then they're supposed to keep quiet, and the people are not supposed to ask. But of course people do, and sometimes we talk about that stuff. But the ideal is that that's the old life we don't. So I often use this line. If people say, where are you from? Swadesho Bhuvanatrayam. My own home is the entire universe. So actually it's very appealing, isn't it? That our true mother is Divine Mother. And she manifests as our earthly mother, no doubt, and manifests as all women in the world. And our true father is the Divine Father, envisioned here as Shiva, and who manifests as all men in the world. And my relatives are my closest people. Who are the people who are closest to me? Those people who also love God, who are also seeking. And where is my home? Where is my homeland? Everywhere I can go, because mom and dad are everywhere. They're the ones manifesting this universe, my true mom and dad. So this beautiful and grand realization that we can be at home always and everywhere. So being Mother's Day, we ought not to ignore our Holy Mother, Sri Sarada Devi, and she, if we think of her life, it seemed like when people would come to her, they always felt like they were coming home to their own mother. So she was a homemaker in that highest sense of creating this space of refuge, of safety, of unconditional love, so that wherever she was home. And when people would come to her, they would feel like they're coming home to their own mother. She had a little picture of Sri Ramakrishna, and she would worship Sri Ramakrishna, taking the help of that picture every day, and offer cooked food to Sri Ramakrishna before the picture. And so if she was traveling, picture would come along, she had a little box, she would put it in, take him out, say, Lord, now have your food. In fact, there was a funny incident once. They were traveling, and they were cooking by the side of the road, and just as cooking was done, the cook dropped the rice pot, which is a clay pot they would put on a fire, and the rice fell all over the ground. And what to do? In Hindu thought, if something touches the ground, it's become impure. If food drops on the floor, on the ground, you can't eat it anymore. There's no 3-second rule in Hinduism, in the Hindu orthodoxy. It's like, touch the ground, forget it. Okay, but in this case, what are they going to do? The rice fell on the ground, and if they had to cook fresh rice, they'd be late. It'd be dark before they get to their destination. They didn't want to travel in the dark, so Holy Mother just scooped up that rice and put it on a plate, and added the vegetables or whatever else was there, and placed the plate before the portrait of Sri Ramakrishna and said, Lord, this is the way you have arranged it today. Please have your meal quickly. And then they carefully scooped up the rice that wasn't touching the ground, but the top layer, and everybody ate, and they went on their way. So what was her last message? I think most of us are familiar with it. It's something we can come back to again and again. She was on her deathbed. It was just 3 days before she left the body, and one of her disciples came most really very pained at heart, feeling like, I'm losing my mother. And she gave her this instruction, which is her instruction to to all seekers. If you want peace, my child, don't look for faults in others. Rather see your own faults. That's the first half. And I want to just qualify that, because nowadays some people are really hard on themselves and they're always seeing their own faults and they get depressed and they can't move forward. And so she doesn't mean that. She means that rather, if you're going to find faults, rather look for faults in yourself than in others. If you look for faults in others, you're going to be miserable. As it turns out, if we look for faults in ourselves too much, we're also going to be miserable. So what do? Oh, we see that there's somewhere where we're falling short. Well, then we take steps to try to overcome that. That's all. I think self-acceptance is also important, and she would not deny that. But finding faults in others makes us miserable. We think it puffs us up somehow. We think, oh, that person has this fault. I don't have that fault. But then here's the second part, which is the part that's really relevant to our discussion. She says, learn to make the whole world your own. No one is a stranger, my child. The whole world is your own. Jagat tomar. Jagat, this world, is yours. It's your own place. So it's kind of interesting. We have come from Narendra's song at the beginning. These living beings round about and the five elements are strangers to you. None of them is your own. And now we've come here. No one is a stranger, my child. The whole world is your own. So I'm suggesting that these are like different stages in our evolution, our spiritual evolution. We start with this idea that there's no one here who is our own. God is the only one who is our own. And then we are homeless. And then when we come to the state of Holy Mother, then we realize, well, no, everybody is our own. But not in the sense that we had before, perhaps. Not in the sense that this is my child and my husband and my wife and all of that. Rather, they are our own. Why? Because they are in God and we are in God. And we find everybody in the same place, in the divine. So, in our talk today, we started with the idea of the importance of home and of creating a sanctuary, of the home as a fort, a place from which to fight our battle of spiritual life. And then this idea that our true home is not here in this world, our true home is in the divine. And that is from where we have come, and that is where we are going. And we hold on to that idea of our true home in the divine. Life is a pilgrimage home. We are homeless wanderers here, and we're going to our true home in the divine. And as we go further and as we go forward, we start to see that God is everywhere and in everything. And so we are at home right here, right now, and everywhere, always, because we are always in God. Our home is the three worlds. So thank you very much.
So many paths I've been upon, they all lead me to the one I love. She gives me strength to move my feet and songs to fill this heart with her nectar sweet. I see, Mother divine, from you we're born. our eyes, even there you smile. You're with us all the while, on rainy days, in springtime's haze, in valleys deep, in mountains steep with snow. While all things grow on ocean shore in fathoms deep, in every place that one does meet, you go. Above and below, you keep me on this dusty road, in joy by grace and love untold, so sweet. You carry every load, in hardest times I find you there, hearing words of every prayer I speak. Your presence with me there, wherever place in time I may be, whatever visions I do see from here. And everywhere I pray your face shall greet my eyes, in every place, in every wise, right here. With me everywhere, right here. With me everywhere, right here.
Next, thank you, Jayanti, for both the opening song and your closing song. It is beautiful and appropriate to the occasion. Next week, our speaker will be Swami Mahayogananda, and his topic, Pray Without Ceasing. Pray without ceasing. Also, Karma Yoga Day will be next Saturday, 20th, from 9 a.m. to noon. I don't know what project is in store, but it's a lot of fun to come here and do some maybe weeding or cleaning or organizing together with other seekers. And classes continuing Wednesday nights at 5 p.m., reading from the book How a Shepherd Boy Became a Saint. And Saturdays at 5 p.m., reading from the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. So this is a kind of spiritual home. Please feel like you can come here and meditate in the beautiful sanctuary here and make use of it. It's your place. It's our place. I thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my thoughts on home. And hello also to the people joining on Zoom. I'm looking at you. Hi. But if I look down, then you see the top of my head, but I'm seeing you. Okay. So I'll close with a prayer. Om asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityormamritangamaya aviravirma edhi rudrayate dakshinam mukham tena mam pahi nityam. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. From the unreal, lead us to the real. From darkness, lead us unto light. From death, lead us to immortality. Reach us through and through ourselves. and evermore protect us from ignorance by thy sweet, compassionate face. Om, peace, peace, peace. Peace and blessings be on all of us on this Mother's Day.